Hello, peoples.
Hello, Andy. How you doing, mate? Hope you're good. And anybody else that's out there? Hope you're having a cracking Father's Day. I'm not expecting huge numbers tonight, because obviously a lot of people will be celebrating their families. Hi, Owen. How's Dublin? Sunny. Oh, you lucky, lucky devil. Well, it's sunny here as well. In actual fact, I'm getting a bit fed up with the sun. Doing a bit of rain. My plants and that.
It's a bit warm in here today.
Yeah.
In the man cave. He's hi, dirty faces.
Hi, dirty faces. Sunny, dirty faces. How you doing?
Hi, chronically.
How you doing? Oh, somebody said, yeah, just a message to let me know I've gone live. Okay, doke, YouTube. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's we had a good day today, haven't we?
Yeah.
I mean, granddaughter come and visit and that today. She come and said hello, gave me a big hug, gave her nanny a big hug, or granny a big hug. Yeah, good day, good day. Chronically, how you doing, mate? We're doing good. Hope you're fantastic.
We ended up with all the dog's toys across the floor because she
yeah.
learned that Willow likes to go and fetch his toys. So
yeah, he was going to get his toys, bring his toys back. Look what I got. Look what I got. So
yeah, he's having a little bit of a sulk at the moment. He's in our bedroom because our son bought his dog Pumbaa with him, and Pumbaa went in our room and raided Willow's stash of treats that he's been keeping.
Yeah, my son's got a pug, so we had a no-nose.
Hi, Simon.
We had a no-nose face-off between two different dogs. Yeah. We had Willow one side and
hi, Modern Tara.
But as is often the case with dogs, leave them to get on with it and sort it out themselves. Yeah. Invariably, they will. It's all about pecking order.
They were actually Pumbaa is he was. They had him before they had the daughter. Yeah. So he's very protective of her, and Willow was chasing her up and down the garden because they were just playing chase, and he thought that
so he got in and had his say. So
hi, Jess.
They had a couple of moments, a little bit
Chris Sussex.
No, I wouldn't say fur flying. It's the old snarly, barky, snarl, growl,
grumbly.
I'm ferocious pretty much any Friday night down the pub, really. I'm different to people.
So Modern Tara, how's the weather up there? Because you got hit by it, didn't you? We did get
nothing here.
We got about 5 minutes of rain. It wasn't a lot of rain, was it? It wasn't even hard rain, and then we had nothing. We could see all the
ground stuff. You could see the individual spots. And the funny thing is, me and my mum, 2 hours before the storm's due to start, we're on the phone to one another. She's the Isle of Wight, so she's further south than me. And she's going, I can see the sky's going black over the channel. You wait till this. It's my garden is going to be so happy. My tomatoes and everything else are going to love this. Oh, we're desperate for a rain. And she said, you literally watched it divide and go around the Isle of Wight. One section went up through Devon and that, and the other section went up through the East Coast. So, they had some cracking thunderstorms and that. And again, because I sit in that central line with the Isle of Wight, it missed us completely.
Yeah, of course, because your solar panels, you don't want rain and cloudy, do you?
No, yeah. No, you need a bit of sunlight.
I do. We've been successful because despite having no rain, we've now got purple pea pods in the garden. Waiting for them to get a little bit bigger. So I'm going to pop the purple ones. They should be purple inside as well.
I bet you couldn't say that after
purple ones.
After a large gin.
Some of the little green ones, but nothing like Stuart.
No, he's doing pretty well up there, isn't he? And that's one of the problems for us down here in the south. In actual fact, I'll make a prediction for you. This year is going to be a really bad farming year. Speaking to friends that are farmers, the haylage this year is rubbish. They shouldn't have had their first cut as early as they did, which sounds great. You know, in a farmer's shoot, I had an early first cut, and you think, oh yeah, brilliant. No, it's because the grass got to that long. Yeah. And then went to seed. And the thing is with grass, you've got to cut it before it goes to seed. Once it's gone to seed, that plant gives up for the rest of the year. It's done what it needs. Yeah. So they cut it at that point. So instead of it being that long at the point it goes to seed and actually getting a good level of haylage off, they've had to cut it at literally half the height take that off. So that's a really poor store for this winter.
Chris at Sussex, he's showing off again. His pumpkins are huge already.
It's a bit personal. And
I haven't forgotten that book. Yeah.
I'm now desperate to try and get the feed on and get the grass away. Hopefully, for the farmers, we get a little bit of moisture now down there in the south, and they get a chance to get a reasonable growth, reasonable head on the grass, and get their second cut in. And if we get a reasonable autumn, although it won't have the sugar in it, they might even get a third cut, which again will be a bit of advantage. But it's also affected things like barley, wheat, all those ground crops. Are struggling because they're not getting the moisture to germinate. It's a bit of a swine, really. But there we go.
Oh, so you're originally from the Isle of Wight. It's a really lovely place. Firestone. Oh, Firestone and Copse.
I know Firestone.
That's where we go to take the dog walk, isn't it?
Yeah, that's where I walk Skye quite regularly.
Yeah.
Who's that?
That was the modern car. They're saying they're happy to get Canal and meet up next month.
Yeah. Excellent. Anyhow.
No, I'm not got a crackling sound. Unless someone's eating crisp very loudly.
Me tapping that. I do apologise. Yeah, do apologise. And we've got the fan on up here tonight because the computer obviously warms the room. It's a tiny space.
The kitten's got crackly up there as well.
Must be the weather. Must be the weather. Yeah, got to be the weather. Got to be atmospherics. We'll put it down to, won't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, atmospherics. So Father's Day today. Father's Day indeed. So there's lots of discussion, Father's Day, why do we do it and all the rest of it. Well,
yeah, solar flares.
Goes back to the Middle Ages, really, medieval times. For the Catholics, this is St. Joseph's Day, the Feast of St. Joseph, patron saints of fatherhood and basically that bit of loving dad that should be in us all. And in 1910, I'm just glancing at my notes because I've been reading all this up. 1910, Sonora Smart Dodd made it a national holiday in the US. It was already a holiday here and throughout a lot of Europe, but made it a national holiday in the US. So pretty much there you go, celebrated in 112 countries worldwide on the same day.
Not all the same day.
Not all the same day, no. It's usually the second or third Sunday of June. So there we go. Very, very history.
Yeah, it's not this month for Czech Republic. I think we're down the same.
Yeah. Some vary, but 112 countries is, So, what am I?
Oh, Simon, we had a word with Tarpac. They didn't get a email through. They did look. We got one from you about with the patch on it.
Yeah.
But
I don't know what happened there. Comms, Comms is a nightmare at the moment. Worldwide, in actual fact, comms is a nightmare. Be prepared for everything to crash down and go wallop at some point.
That's a shame, Chris.
I'm sneaking thing in the back of my mind. Something's about to hit the fan somewhere.
Yeah, well, my father passed on my brother's birthday, and my brother hasn't celebrated his birthday for 19 years now. It's this year's the first time he's actually celebrated. But
Let me just. I'm gonna move the camera and the microphone just a little bit closer. Let's see if that helps at all, guys, with the sound quality. I'll just move it a little bit closer. Let me know if that ends the crack or improves it. Yeah. I'm sorry about that, Bushcross. Sussex. Yeah, that's a horrible thing to deal with. Makes that day very hard.
Yeah, mine is Halloween, and my friend he tried the commando course and failed, and he couldn't take that. So unfortunately, his ashes were spread on Halloween. So that's quite a day for me too.
It's a different one for Kaz. So what am I on to this week? Well, I'm off to my dreaming tree. I'm away this week. There's not going to be much in the way of videos up this week, I'm afraid, because I'm away for a few days. But I'm going to be doing some filming. So I'm going out to my dreaming tree, and I'm going to do a bit of time travelling. I'm going to try and take you back to the 1940s, possibly the 1950s. Not so much in myself, but in views, countryside, and events. So we're going to do that, and I've also got to go and have a look at some wasps and some hoverflies.
You said we. It's just you.
That's just me.
Yeah.
I'm off on my own backpack and adventure.
Kaz's party.
Kaz's party. Yeah. Andrew wants to come around and party with Kaz. You kick up your heels, enjoy yourselves. So I'm looking into hoverflies, wasps, and that for a little bit of research that I'm doing at the moment. I've been doing for years. Insects fascinate me. The whole ecosystem and how everything balances out, works together. So again, I tend to be a bit soft towards wasps, but I'll explain that in a bit. I've done a little bit for you. And as you say, this week's weather was an absolute hit and miss. If it hit you, bloody hell, you knew about it. If it missed you, well, a bit disappointing, really. Yeah, a lack of water.
We need the bees.
Yeah,
I've got myself a bee ladder.
And I will. You have?
I've got a bee ladder. It's when you look onto a hive and they've made their little honeycomb sort of hexagon shape. It's a yellow piece of plastic about that long with one on a bit of a hinge. And what you do is you put the long part of the ramp into a saucer of water, and the little bits stand up, and what happens is the bees can land on it then and just walk down the little ramp and have a drink without drowning.
Incredible creatures.
Hi Lefty, hi Lefty.
Incredible creatures. It's
hi Bob. Yeah, they say we don't know why it's crackling. I know we've got the fan on. I don't think it's that that's doing it.
I'll try turning it off, see if that helps. Yeah, I'll try turning the fan off and see if that helps. I think it might just be atmospherics more than anything. Let's see if that's better.
Oh, frogs! I love frogs. I'm not so keen on the slugs.
You should kiss one once.
I don't mind leopard slugs because I eat the other slugs, but I do like frogs and toads.
Yeah. So bees, wasps, and hornets. Let's share some knowledge. Okay. Probably the most hated insects out there. Bees, wasps, hornets. But the thing is, there's this thing at the moment, and we've all seen it before, bees die after they sting. Well, in all honesty, no, they don't. Okay, that is actually completely our fault. And it's only certain species of bee that die after they sting, mainly honeybees.
Wrong sort of frog, that's what it is, Tara.
Yeah, honeybees have a barbed sting. Almost all the other species of bees have a smooth sting and can sting repeatedly. Okay. What happens with the honeybee is it lands on you, it stings you, and invariably what happens, you swat it off, and because of the barbs, you basically extract his poison sac and everything. As with most dying things, muscles contract, so he keeps pumping you. Interesting thing with a honeybee. If you ever get stung by a honeybee, and I know this is a really difficult thing to think about, you get stung by a bee, if you can resist brushing it off, you're going to actually end up with less of a sting than brushing them away, because the honeybee can extract its sting from you, and it takes about a minute, and it's only going to envenomate the first time. He's then going to try and get his sting out to fly away. If you leave him to do that, you'll get stung once. If you brush him off and it extracts the sting stays in you and keeps pumping venom in. So, yeah, there's a little bit of interest there. Bumblebees, carpenter bees, leafcutter bees, mason bees, solitary bees can all sting multiple times, don't have a barb, okay, and will basically sting you, fly off, quite happily sting again if they feel threatened enough, okay. So it's just a case of, if you're like me, a bee lover, and I get stung, I do everything. It's not always possible because of reaction, but do everything I can to just go on, you little bugger, go away.
Sussex would like to say, what about boobies?
Boobies will sting you every single time.
Yeah, Japanese wasps found in the UK recently. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is with the bees and wasps, the actual sting's not designed to drive off human beings. It's actually designed to drive off
the palm when I was a kid.
The small predatory animals and other insects. It's designed to kill and disable those. Whereas with larger species, and you see this with cattle quite a bit, sometimes horses as well, and human beings, they will bump you. Bees will fly into you. If you ever find yourself getting bumped repeatedly by bees, you're near a nest, and that's their way of saying go away. What they'll turn to invariably is hover around the face. They're drawn to the eyes, they will hover around the face, and they will bump you. They do it to cattle, they do it to horses, and obviously those animals are intelligent enough to go, oh, I'll back off and leave away, or possibly instinct, not intelligence.
Don't eat them.
All these species will swarm in defence, with the exception of the solitary bees, because literally they're on their own. Like,
they send a signal, don't they?
Yeah, they send out a pheromone, and it will cause a defensive movement. In the event that you're stung, the calmer you can stay, the better off you are.
Hi, Max.
Remove yourself from the situation. If it's got a sting in you and you can resist it, by not killing it, you're not releasing the pheromone. Okay. So there we go. There are 550 species of stingless bees, mainly in subtropical regions of Australia and South America. These
bees make up for the ones that all the things that do bite and sting. And
they do. The other thing is that although they're stingless, what they don't have a sting, but they bite you, and like an ant, will squirt in formic acid at that point. So instead of getting a bee sting, you get something more like an ant sting.
I think some of the bees do it as well, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
The ones that don't sting, they bite.
So they produce formic acid, and again, that can be neutralised. These stingless bees belong to the family of Apidae, and they are part of the honeybee family and will produce small amounts of honey. There are in total 20,000 species of bee worldwide, and only 9% of those bees are known to be aggressive. Okay, so there are only 5 truly aggressive bees. There's the Africanized bee, or killer bee, as we call it, which was a hybridization made by man. There's the carpenter bee, the honey bee, the European carder bee, and funnily enough, stingless bees can be aggressive. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna have you. Gotta have you.
I don't mind wasps. I really don't. But it really annoys me when I was on the bus, and you see this bloke kept swatting this blooming bee with a newspaper, and he goes, "Oh, it's going to sting me." I said, "Well, now because you keep twatting it with a paper." So I picked it up and put him out the window.
In the family Hydroptera, you've got a subset. The subset is the one that we're really talking about today. So these are the wasps and the hornets. Now, wasps and hornets must be treated with respect at all times, because these are the true aggressors. Okay, they're all carnivores. That's the differentiation between them and bees. Bees are vegetarian. They take pollen. They make honey. But all the wasps and hornet species are carnivorous and follow that carnivorous instinct of being aggressive. Yeah. So they are absolutely fantastic species, or animals in their own right. So, key fact with hornets. Yeah. An interesting fact about wasps and hornets. All hornets are wasps. Not all wasps are hornets. There you go. Heard it here. It's confusing as hell, isn't it? They've been with us for over 100 million years. Okay, these insects have existed on our planet for 100 million years. Bees, as I say, bees are vegetarian, wasps are carnivores. Identification, simple. Bees are usually hairy, and which helps to cover their body in pollen, and collect the pollen. Okay, they normally got a slightly rounder body than a wasp or a hornet, and they don't have such a narrow thorax. Wasps have a very narrow waist. They're normally fairly hairless, and you will not be able to see their legs when they're in flight, unlike a bee. Hornets, on the other hand, dead easy to recognise. Twice the size of everything else. Yeah, The head on a hornet is also bulges behind the eyes, so it's not a streamlined head. You actually have the eyes, and then the head becomes larger around it, and that gives the power to its very impressive jaws. Behaviour-wise, majority of bees are fairly solitary.
Yeah, hornets are nasty.
Yeah, majority of bees are solitary. It's only 9% of them that are social. Okay, so majority of bees are little individuals. So next time you see a bee, go, "Oh, mate, I'll be your friend." Okay, and they're not aggressive. Okay, with the exception of a few species, majority of bees aren't aggressive. Wasps, however, way more aggressive than bees, especially the social wasps. Any wasp that's got a nest, yeah, if it can be left well alone and avoided, avoid it, and if not, then you're going to have to get it dealt with. Okay. Saying that, invariably they're quite calm. I pick them up all the time.
But hornets are they're huge, aren't they?
Hornets, right?
Nasty things.
All the information I find out is basically said, and I will translate this in easiest English terms. The average hornet is like a Glaswegian on a Friday night. Okay,
as the Lockhoppers says, devil's work.
They are. They just literally, hornets just want to kill. They are aggressive. They are the excuse my language, the a-holes of the insect world. Okay, so nests. Bees are easy. Nest underground, or they nest in hollow trees, and they produce wax to build their nests. Wasps don't like to build nests where there's habitation and humans, and actually like to get into loft spaces, into hollows in trees and that, and make a lot of noise. Okay, they're literally constantly letting everything know they're there, stay away. Hornets, on the other hand, do not like man-made structures at all. You won't find one in a loft, or very rarely find it in a loft. They actually like bushes and shrubs, and nest fairly low. So in a lot of cases, people end up walking into, brushing against, or knocking against hornet nests. Again, because they're hard and they don't give a flying.
I don't know if else saw it on Temu. They had a false nest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's made out of hemp rope, and it's like a false nest. What you do, you hang it up in a tree, and the others won't go nesting near it because there's already a nest there. Yeah.
So bees feed on pollen, as we all know, produce honey, eat that. Wasps and hornets are all drawn towards sugar. They love sugar. They love picnics. They like things like that. With the hornet, it tends to be more that it's actually drawn to capture the wasps, flies, and other insects that are drawn to that sugar. They are absolute carnivores. They like
That's interesting.
Wasps like sugar, gives energy. They will take nectar. So again, that draws them in. Although the adult wasp lives on the nectar, it captures flying insects like flies, mosquitoes, and so on, takes them back to its nest, chews them up, produces a pulp, and feeds its larvae with them. Okay, they're not great carnivores as in themselves. It's the young that want the meat. But the wasps themselves, they love things like rotten fruit, stuff like that. They like those sugar.
So your windfalls and all that.
Massive amounts of energy. Now, although I've been knocking wasps and hornets, I've got to say some of them are absolutely fantastic. They are brilliant at removing our planet from bad insects and threats to us, like mosquitoes, like flies being the harbinger of disease. Although I did come across one specialist wasp that I got a lot of time for, and that is the blue mud dauber.
Give yourself a proper old name.
Proper brewing name.
Yeah.
Do you know what his favourite food is? Black widow spiders.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hi, Mac.
So that's the way of getting rid of the black widow spiders. So unfortunately, what do? We encourage them. We put out trash. We put out sweet things. We also often put out meat again, which the wasps will harvest that meat to take back to the nest. We're not very good at picking up fallen fruit and stuff like that. So if you've got apple trees, pear trees, plum trees, damsons, anything like that, when that fruit falls, just spend that bit of time clearing it off the ground, and you're going to reduce the numbers. But what you could do to help nature is find yourself somewhere a bit further away, a bit out of the way. Just tip it out, let it do its natural thing. In actual fact, I've been known to walk along tree lines, chucking rotten apples, pears, fruit, and that, so that it actually helps possibly
Maybe
for them to germinate and become new trees in their own right.
Maybe there's a bird that predates on a hornet. That's the reason for their. They said, what is the point of a hornet? Because everything has purposes.
Yeah, it's basically a hornet's role is to keep those insects down, because he'll hunt wasps and he'll hunt bees as well.
Yeah.
So
Cutting their heads off.
There's always something going to feed on something else. So again, but all these creatures have their role to play in nature. So where you can, give them a bit of respect. You know, they're not purposely out to get you, with the exception of possibly the hornet.
That's what I was talking about, the hornet.
Yeah, give them a bit of respect, a bit of due. There are species out there at the moment which we're facing threats from, like the Asian hornet, which is a prolific bee killer. Yeah, me personally, hornets, they get squished. They get squished. I'm very careful to make sure it is a hornet. Wasps, I give them a bit of room and a bit of respect, so they're not an immediate threat to me. Bees, yeah, I'll never harm a bee.
I was sad that I read something this week on the news channels. Someone who's been a beekeeper for 20 years, and he went to his hives, and someone has smashed the lot up, destroyed 20 years of work.
Disgusting.
For the hell of it, yeah.
That will be the same situation as I had with that idiot killing the snakes on the ranges.
I agree with you there, Modern Tara, that Greta Thunberg is definitely a hornet with that on LSD.
Oh yeah, there's nothing like a bit of publicity to keep you happy, is there?
I love dragonfly. Dragonflies and mayflies. The dragonflies have one of them's got out wings, and the other one's got ones that go back.
Damselflies' wings fold back.
Yeah.
Dragonflies' wings fold set out.
Yeah.
See a video this week. Second part of my good friend Lee Roberts has done. He's done a couple of brilliant videos covering birds and their language and how you can use their language. I've always pointed out to others that it's almost impossible to be stealthy in the wild, as any good countryman will know you're there. Okay, basically, and as I'm sure Modern that will bear me out on this. When you get people that truly work and live in the countryside, people like gamekeepers and farmers that have a true passion for their land, know every inch of it. They'll know you're there. They'll know that you're there by the fact that the birds aren't singing in that particular area or are giving alarm calls. They'll know you're there because the rabbits aren't out on their usual feeding spot, or the fox has changed his route tonight and he's gone a different way. Or in fact, the deer may not be approaching that woods or that area. So again, nature gives brilliant clues. To those that are prepared to see it, listen to it, and spend time within it, it gives every warning you want. Likewise, those that know how to move in nature know how to move in a non-threatening manner. And this is quite a funny one. People say to me about, when you stalk, you creep through. Well, there's nothing more alarming to wildlife than you creeping.
Because you make more noise.
Because you look like something stalking. You look like something being predatory. If you watch a cat or a fox when they move into that woods, then they slow right down if they're on to prey. And again, the other animals pick up on that. The knack is actually to move calmly. It's to move with a fluid and calm movement, keeping your noise, your aggression to a minimum. Okay, but look like you're not a threat. Look like you're not stalking. Okay, if you are stalking, then by golly, you want the scent on, you want the camouflage, you want everything on, and you are going to move really, really slow.
Yeah, but the going covering yourself with the hind urine is no. That's just that's just a step too far, and you're loving your hunting just a little bit too much.
Well, that's it. And birds, as Lee pointed out, birds have sentries. All birds have sentry birds. All the flocking birds have sentry birds, who, whilst everybody else is feeding, are sitting up in a good position watching. And birds have brilliant eyesight, absolutely brilliant eyesight. Deer, not so much, but their hearing and their sense of smell is so more advanced. So again, nature knows, and for people that can read it, people that spend all their time in it, they pick up on it straight away. Yeah. So, and again, as Lee pointed out, birds are brilliant communicators. Okay, they're alarm calls. If you learn their alarm calls, you'll know when they've spotted you. But not only that, if you're there and it's all calm, they're not putting out alarm calls, you're sat still, and they suddenly start giving an alarm call in the corner of the woods, you know there's something out there. And you then, it alerts you. You could do exactly the same as that deer. You put your head up, start tilting your ears towards the sound, figuring out what that is, working out, is that also a threat to you?
Caw. Yes.
So, the other thing is, okay, like us, you've got to remember wildlife are creatures of habit. So when I say that they change their pattern, and the farmer or the gamekeeper or the countryman picks up on it, it is because, like us, they are creatures of habit. Rabbits like to come out onto certain areas to feed. Deer like to graze over certain routes every night or every evening. The birds will flock to the same roost point every single night. Okay, they've even got their own favourite seats on various branches, and you'll alter that, and it will get picked up on.
Yeah, it's like when you put your little snares down, make sure you don't touch things round it.
Yeah.
As you know, avoid touching if you don't need to touch, because that even that little tiny bit of your scent will make them go.
Yeah, I've seen people put their gloves on to put a snare out, right? Leave the snare alone, take their gloves off, and then brush the grass around it. And then it's like, hey, well, I just scent mark this spot.
I must just scoot down it for the hell of it. Yeah.
Anything coming along there is like, whoa, there's been a human here. So again, and the knack. I mean, I know Modern did a really interesting one on snaring. So for me, snaring's never been a major one for me. Where I came from, we used to long net. Okay, now long netting is a traditional method of controlling rabbits, especially on farmland, that involves stealth. So what you actually do is you allow the rabbits to go out into the field from a hedgerow. You allow them to move out down the field from a hedgerow, and then it takes two people, usually the most experienced amongst you, in dark clothing. They go out and they will set the silk purse or silk long net along the hedge line where all the bolts are for the rabbits, and they will set that net on stakes as they move along. And it is a case of one pushes in, the other one droops over, and you just move calmly, carefully along. The rabbits don't see the net. What they see is two humans walking along the edge of the field behind them, and they'll watch you. They know you're there, but they'll watch you, and they'll see you move across the field and off the field. When you've got off the field, you normally conceal yourself one end of the net, and either at a pre-designed designated time or at a signal, a group of beaters will start to work up the field, making a lot of noise and flushing those rabbits. Those rabbits' instinct then is to turn and bolt for home. When they do that, they run into the silk purse net, they're caught in the purse net. Now, the knack is, don't get overexcited and run straight out to the purse net, the first rabbit hitting the net. It's going to get tangled. One or two will get away, but the majority are going to be in the net. Once you've judged that the bulk of the rabbits are either in the net or have bolted, then it's time to get out quickly and humanely dispatch. That's my preferred method, but that takes teamwork. That's a very efficient, very, very good way of producing a lot of rabbits for a large group of people. And if it was a survival situation, again, because they're in the nets, you are in a position then, and I've seen old boys do it, they picked them up, they've gone, too little bugger.
We haven't got any long nets, but I'm sure you can put a link on link to Jack Hargreaves, because he's got a really good one on long netting, hasn't he?
And there are still a couple of people in the countryside making them. If you want to find somebody that you want to have make your purse net, your best bet in the UK today is to get down to a fishing port. Find a fisherman. A lot of fishermen, especially around places like Lyddon, Hythe, Kent, and that, down in the West Country, still will stitch their own nets. Okay, and they're the people that can make you a purse net. Or if you're really, really keen and you've got the dexterity for it, I haven't anymore. Go online. It's actually quite a simple process. It's only a simple knot, right? but it takes a bit of practice to make your purse nets. And some of these purse nets, I can
My
remember
dad
as a
used to
boy
make them.
being purse nets, long nets. I can
Long,
remember them being hundreds and hundreds of meters long.
And you had to be really careful when you thinking them up, because you got a knot in there. You tangled any part of that, you're screwed.
Well, I used to do a lot of ferreting, and I used a lot of purse nets, and I had to teach my boys, as you do. So with purse nets, when you put a purse net away, you literally leave the stake in the ground and grab the furthest knot from that stake, and you hold it up so the net slides back down the string in a long line like that, and then you wrap it round your fingers until the net's done. Then you turn it, and then you put the actual line around it, and then you cross the peg, right, back through it, and that locks it. That means when you go to put that net out next time, you pull the peg out, push the net, then peg into the ground, unwind it, and you've got the whole net laid out in front of you. And then all you've got to do is hold one edge, place the edges out to where
if you don't do it right from the start, then you screw it. You'll stop taking them out, and you'll be faffing about. Where it's so easy to just take them out, pull the stick, and
when they get tangled. And the old silk purse nets were usually made of silk, as light and as fine as possible. Modern materials don't quite have the ability and are hard to find, but there are alternatives out there.
Right, Phil's asked a prepping question. You're looking for a phone with a very long battery life. Now, you've got one, Mick's got one, I believe Kiwi's got one, and I've got one too.
If you're looking for a phone, an Android phone, that is, that has a very long life, you want to have a look at the Yule phones.
He killed the cat phone.
Yeah, killed the cat phone. First day having it.
Yeah, he's had the cat phone. You've had the Land Rover phone. Nah. Yule phone, yes. Yeah, Jess, you watch that Jack Hargreaves one. He's doing a whole lot, and I should imagine you probably find somewhere online that you can learn to make the purse nets as well.
There are people that have done videos on making nets.
If you're able to do some sort of almost crochet, things like that, you should be able to do that.
Ulphone, they provide phones for German governmental bodies, military, and so forth. They make some super tough phones, and I mean literally indestructible, but with nice size screens. Downside is they are heavy. That one there, that's mine. So I actually charge that once every 7 days. If I put it on energy saver mode, I can get 70 days out of it. So that's they are.
And that is an Android phone.
And it is an Android. And the only thing I will say with them, the CPU is not as fast as, say, something like an iPhone, but I've never had an issue with that. I've done videos on it. I upload with it. I use it for the internet. Absolutely brilliant. Never let me down. And they are quite affordable. In comparison to things like iPhones and that, they're a lot better price. Excuse me. And they make all sorts of models.
I've got the Ulefone. Mine's the smaller version, and mine I think it's Android. It's got a stupid camera on it. Really good camera in that. I think one was 70 quid.
Yeah, have a look at them, Philip. They are. That's my.
Jess, you'll be ideal. Those sort of things would be fantastic for you. You might have a bit of make yourself an eel trap or something as well.
Yeah, eel traps. I used to make them as a boy as well. Yeah, my father was an apprentice wicker worker at a place called Cobbetts in Guildford. Hated it, absolutely hated it. So as soon as he finished his apprenticeship and he was able to walk away, he did. And the interesting thing is, this is a bit of history, a bit of fun for you. So my father's apprenticeship, in them days when you did your apprenticeship, you finished off by making a master item. So you had to make something that was master level. And once you'd done that, then you were signed off as fully apprenticed. And I think it was about 4 years he did. So his final project that he had to do himself was for a Mini. So pre-release of the Mini had been released in the UK. It's
Glad
just
you got
about to
home all
go
right,
to America. It's just started being advertised in America. And a very, very, very rich American decided he was going to buy his wife a brand spanking new Mini. But he wanted it delivered in a hamper, a wicker hamper, along with lots of other British stuff. But he wanted this Mini and a hamper. So my father made a full hamper, folding top, the whole lot,
last 2 minutes, Max,
that was large enough to take a Mini. One end of it dropped down on hinges, back the Mini in, put that up, fold the top over, leather straps, held it down. That was his apprenticeship project. Very, very proud of that. Although he hated Minis, he was very proud of it. But he taught us, because of his experience of wicker, he taught us all sorts of tricks as kids. So we learned to make eel traps, fish traps, things like that at wicker. We learned to make little baskets and bits and pieces.
Good evening, Jason, Muddy Ruts Foodie.
Hi, Jace. So yeah, there are so many old skills out there that are falling apart that I could never learn them all in my lifetime.
From Max, he says, what app do you recommend for editing with the GoPro?
Right, so I do it on my I edit all my videos on my computer using an app called Clipchamp. Okay. Prior to that, I used the Microsoft Video Editor, which is a free-to-use app. People like Farmer P and that use that. It's a good app. It's basic, it's honest, it's reliable. It's where I would start my editing because it's easy to use. It's an intuitive app. It's a great system. If you then decide to add a few more tricks into your editing, then you can go with Clipchamp. But as I've started to realise this year, you might notice I've stopped doing chainsaw. Yeah, I've stopped doing thumbnails. I've stopped doing a lot of fades unless I've got a real gap. I don't do fades anymore. I'm sort of moving away from a lot of the editing tricks and gimmicks and just really just concentrating on the image, show you what it is. One of the things I realised very early on was I used to do an intro. I've stopped doing the intros now. I just like to crack straight into the video. It seems to be more what people want. They want less of me going. They want just, hi, I'm Mickey. This is what we're doing today. And that's one of the things that I think you sort of figure out with time. When I started this, I used to see everybody's video was almost like a full production TV program. And then I realised that, in actual fact, you know what? It doesn't need to be. As long as you're just doing what you enjoy and you're making a reasonably entertaining video and you capture them in the first few seconds, hopefully, away it goes. So, yeah, Microsoft Video Editor, that's one to start with. Like I say, it's free. If you've got a Microsoft set up like Windows on your computer, it's going to be in there already. Jason. All you've got to do is type in Windows Editor and you'll find the Microsoft Windows Editor in there. And that's what I started with. It's great. Easy.
Yes. I'm sure all the ladies appreciated your lovely shaped dish wooden platter. Your wife was right about putting that in.
Jason, you're a swine. My wife has not stopped talking about your willy plate.
I've got a bottle opener on the fridge that's very yes. Oh, there it is. Yes.
If you've got children, hide their eyes now.
A bottle opener.
Somebody bought that back from Caroline from Cyprus.
Max, I we did email you. Mick was sorting the man cave out yesterday and he was unrolling some of the tarp that was used at the camp. So he's doing the last few bits. And your green lighter was in the tarp. So we've got that for you.
The big brown tarp I had up. I got that out to straighten it up. And it was inside there, mate. Sorry. God knows how or where it picked it up, but Yeah, it ended up rolled up inside the brown tarp. So I do apologise, Max. It was me. I've got it here, and I will get it to you either at the next camp. I don't think you can post lighters, can you?
No.
Right,
yeah, because it's got fuel in it. You can't. I will
give it back to
unless
you
we open it,
next
empty
camp
it.
or yeah.
Oh, so Modern Tara, I've got in the next 5 days. It'll be their first year on YouTube, but spent 2 years preparing for it. Yeah, where is Sticks today?
Well, Mod Tara, congratulations, well done. You know,
right.
you've come leaps and bounds, and you've grown really quickly.
I've got my journal today with my words to inspire. I haven't found any long one, but I've got one. Just thought I'd give you this one. This one is actually from George Bernard Shaw. It says, "Life isn't finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself."
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Yes.
Right, next camp. I'm still waiting to speak to Gareth.
So, live for the moment you can't put into words.
Yeah, I think the next camp is going to be in August. July would be too soon, so it's going to be in August some point. But I will speak to Gareth and I will get that cracked out.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Log Hoppers. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I've got to admit, I am a bit jealous. You've done really, really well, but it's all been your own hard work. And again,
hi, Andy.
It's one of those things, isn't it? I'm not quite as niche as possibly a lot of other people, and I only really do what I'm enjoying on that particular day. Yeah, I've had people say to me that I ought to concentrate more on the prepping. I ought to concentrate more on the survival.
The thing is, you've got a lot of other things going on in the background.
Yeah, I've had people ask me, I want to see me really in camouflage, carrying a weapon, doing tactical skills.
Camouflage pants, holding his weapon.
Yeah. But me personally, I mean, when I started out on this video, it was really to leave something for my granddaughter as she gets older to see that was her granddad. That was the sort of person he was. And also to just try and share an absolute love and passion for the countryside. If you ask me, what would I, if I had my time over again, if I was 20 years old, what would I be looking at now? Do you know what? I would be making videos very similar to Jack Hargreaves. I would be trying to save some of the old traditional methods, techniques, and so on. That's what I would aim at. I'm a bit long in the tooth for that now.
Yeah.
But if I could save those things and pass them on for future generations, I would. Not all of them are practical these days. Not all of them are legal, but there's no harm in talking about them. I mean, methodologies that were used by my great-grandparents and so on, some of those, like mag on a pond to make the trout float to the surface, today would get you locked up for a long time. However,
I think a lot of us were brought up on Jack Hargreaves, weren't we?
Yeah,
my father watched it, so I watched it, and our sons watched it, and
as you get older,
watching it again.
As you get older, and I'm not that old, I'm only, 16.
Jason just laughed at you, Muddy Ruts Foodie, 20 years old, says him, who sits in our chair snoring when he's been in there for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, comes in, like an old fella. No, I think I'm 59, I'm nearly 60, and you suddenly realise how quickly things change in just your lifetime, and I'm not talking about since birth. I mean, really, since I noticed things, since I was, say, 16 to 59, how much has changed? How many traditions have gone away?
And how many things have we done when we were kids on tractors and farm machinery that they would have killed our parents for that now?
How many things could I do as a boy that you couldn't legally do now? Not talking about criminality. I'm talking about things that were pretty much the average everyday thing. You know,
I've heard of that.
Jumping up on I mean, you'd never do it now. Jumping up on the wheel arch of a tractor and sitting alongside your old man.
Yeah.
With an open cab tractor.
My cousin used to drive the tractor, and when he was about 8. And we used to be sitting on the wheel arches or on the trailer at the back. Just open trailer.
And quite rightly so, you'd be locked up for that now because it is bloody lethal. But Kaz used to slide. They used to have a tilting tractor or trailer. on the farm that she used to go to.
And you used to have the wood on one end, didn't it?
Yeah, and they used to play a game of hanging onto it as it lifted up to slide down it, to see who could hang onto it the longest.
I was the eldest. I always won.
You couldn't do that now. Fences, hedges, the woods. How has it all changed? How has it all changed? As more people use it, as it gets more involved, as the public use the countryside more.
Oh, thank you.
You know, even down to things like standard traditions, Whit Sunday, celebrations like that, May Day, things. These are all things that are slowly disappearing. Okay, there will always be places in the country where they hang on, places like Padstow and that. But in a lot of other places, do you see a May Day celebration now?
No.
Gone. Yeah,
I'll be
once upon a time,
yeah.
every village.
And wassailing. Yeah. Wassailing is when you used to go up and wassail around the orchards, wasn't it? The old apple orchards.
These old traditions used to bring communities together for celebration, to get together. It was an excuse for a party, really. And they're all disappearing. So is it time for me to do a bit of a Jack Hargreaves? I mean, even later in life when he did it, maybe I ought to go and visit places like Padstow, places where they still do these things.
I remember Jack on the cider, and I remember when he was taking his apples along to the old boy, and he was one who had the press, and he'd take a certain amount for himself.
Yeah. Lockup was the same. They're planning to do their life. Yeah, no problem with that.
Yeah, catapults. They're going. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm more than happy with you guys to do your live an hour before us, and.
But as kids, we used catapults and we used to aim at trees and things like that, and the odd can or a piece of wood, a log or something. But now the kids, all they seem to do is around here, the pond's getting really bad for ducks, geese, and swans being killed by kids with catapults because they're bored.
Yeah, it's what they're not learned.
No.
It's.
Hi, Cookie. How you doing?
We all started off with homemade catapults with knicker elastic, to be honest with you, and you pinged your mates with it, and then you realised how much it hurt. Then you realised how dangerous it was, and you also had a respect and understanding for the wildlife around you, and absolutely knew. I was never frightened of the local copper. Who I was terrified of was my old man. If my old man heard that I'd killed a duck out of season, or had killed a duck without bringing it home for the pot, I wouldn't have sat down for a month of Sundays. Yeah. He would have taken his belt to me. Yeah. And I don't care what anybody says about, you can't beat children. No. That taught me respect. That taught me what was right, what was wrong. Okay? There's a difference between discipline, and there's a difference between discipline and abuse. And I do think that discipline has disappeared in the UK. And it's a damn shame.
I don't like when you say if you're going to kill anything, you eat it, unless you can't. It's ill, and you can't actually. Then it's fairer to the animal to put it to sleep. And
you're showing respect to something. That's what you're doing. It's a life force. It's an energy. It's a living thing. If you're using it for food, then you're grateful for the food and you respect the animal for giving you the fuel that you need.
I'm a nightmare down at the seaside, down at the sea. We were once down in Cornwall in Bude. I think Matt was with us, and there was this kid, dad letting his kid chop up the jellyfish. They're ones that have got like a sail on their back, and that's how they move, isn't it? They get blown by through the currents.
Wasn't Portuguese man of war?
No, they weren't man of wars. They were just there's like a sail back on, and the kid was chopping it up with a metal spade, and his dad was letting it do it. Why? It's a living thing. Just teach your child to look at it, not
respect it.
Yeah.
And the same thing with plants. Respect for plants. Yes, we all take plants as a food source. We all take them as a resource. We all use them, but it's have a bit of respect for it. I love the fact that if I'm out and I eat fruit, then I endeavour to try and place fruit. So if I take a damson down from the tree and I eat a damson, I try and take a damson down from the tree and place the damson as the whole fruit. And that's something people also quite often forget is there's nutrients in that fruit. Now, obviously, when it goes through a bird, it gets processed and turned into something completely different, and the seed comes out with it.
Yeah.
But if you can take that seed, that piece of fruit, and put it out somewhere, you're giving it a chance. It might not grow, but it just might. How did that last tree get there?
Yeah, it is. And like I said, that tree that those two blokes cut down stupidly, that tree started to grow back again, didn't it?
Yeah.
And it's life, isn't it? Whatever tree, bush, whatever, it drops its seeds or seedlings, and they all grow up, and so they can replace the other one when it's gone. It's the same as like fairy rings with your mushrooms. Your mushroom drops the spores, it breaks a circle, and people don't realise it. No, you don't just go around and you pick every single one of them because you'll have no mushrooms.
Yeah. Yeah, parish priest used to be feared. Yeah, we used to have a parish nun who used to front the life out of me. Yeah,
I've still had a chance to get my strawberries. I think I'm going to go out and next week and have a root about.
Max was saying he used to get gobby with his neighbours and he'd get whacked round the head. Then his mum would get a call on the old left. Yeah, that's what I used to get. I lived in a village and it was a case of you could run as hard as you want, but as soon as you started running, somebody would go, "I know your father."
That's it, Tara. It's the First Nations always did that. A lot of the indigenous tribes from all over the world will thank an animal for giving up its life for them. It's good. Yeah.
Nature is cruel. Okay, something I was taught very early as a nipper. Nature is cruel. Look at all predatory animals. They will kill something as fast as they can. They'll eat it. But do they ever take more than they need? No. Do they kill for the fun of killing? With the exception of boggies? No. Okay. So have the same rule yourself. It's just that you have the ability to make that ending probably damn sight more humane than a wolf. But then a wolf doesn't have a rifle, it doesn't have a thumb, it doesn't have a catapult, it doesn't. And again, with all these things, it's practice. I got asked the other week, somebody said, "Oh, you cocky kid, so you think you're a good shot?" No, I don't think I'm a good shot. I know I'm a good shot. I've shot firearms ever since I was a young man. I got taught by people that knew how to do it very, very well. And I kept all the skills, drills, and learning applied all the way through. So every time I bought a new rifle, I didn't just go out hunting with it. I would spend hours and hours and hours shooting with that at varying distances in varying conditions until I knew I could put that shot every time where I wanted it. And I've been out stalking, I've looked at things, I've looked through the scope, I put the crosshairs on, I judged the distance, the windage, everything else, take it all into account, looked through there, taken a couple of breaths, and then gone.
Yes, we
can't guarantee it. And I've unloaded the weapon and moved on to the next one.
We have had squirrel chronically.
Yeah.
They're very they're small animal, but the meat is all right.
The meat's all right. There's not a lot of it. Okay, you want a couple of squirrels to make a meal. There's a lot of very small bones around things like the ribs. Personally, I found the easiest way for me to do them was to spatchcock them. Yeah, because it is, especially when you're looking around the body, it's quite sweet. If you start trying to bone a squirrel, you're going to be there for days. Most meat is on the haunches and the shoulders, but again, it's not a huge quantity. So again, with a squirrel, if you're going to take a squirrel, especially in a survival situation, use as much of it as possible. Best bet, in my bone, put it in a stew. You can get a dozen squirrels into a stew, cook them off the bone, cook them till the meat comes away from the bone. The bone produces a stock. You're getting all the gelatin and that into there. All the marrow's then going to be used up. It's all putting nutrients into the stock. And
you might be near a field that they won't notice a spud or turnip or something disappearing.
I quite like it. Yeah. I quite like it.
Yeah, squirrel's all right. We actually met. We used to go to a place in Devon. That was a fishing place, and the lady there, she ate most things, hadn't she?
Yeah, look, I was agree with you. Back straps on any animal are always the best cut. Always the best cut. That's where you get your decent bits of meat from.
Yeah, I mean, we see them as our little fluffy things, but it's the same in Papua New Guinea and that. They eat guinea pigs and,
right, so
in Africa they eat the rats and bats.
Squirrels are a numerous animal that breed rapidly. You're not going to dent their population, their numbers. You're not putting them at risk or at danger. If anything, you are, especially at this time of year, helping the birds out. Okay, well, not so a bit late now, but in the early part of spring, you're helping the birds out because they're prolific nest raiders. The red squirrels aren't. No. Grey squirrels definitely are a prolific nest raider. They love chicks. They like eggs. They will have a go at them all. Badger, badger. I had smoked badger about.
No, it's 15, good to make them like that, Phil.
15, 20 years ago, and I tell you what, that was good eating. Good eating. I've got no problem with badger. Yeah, but again, people wouldn't do it today, would they? They oh no, not poor old badger. Disney's got a lot to be blamed for. This whole thing of
problem is it's like trying to explain to people that that they say I want to eat deer and I want to eat this and I want to eat that, but the thing is that's because we have been brought up to eat certain things, but you go to another country and they'll sort of go, well, we'd eat it.
Yeah, I'll eat it.
Yeah.
And again, that's the other thing out of it, isn't it, Cass? It's how many times over the years have we met people that won't eat venison when I've been stalking? No. I'm not eating venison. I'm not eating a bloody deer. No, I'm not eating deer. Quite happy to have a bit of steak. Oh, I'm not eating deer because, you killed it. Yeah. Well, my deer, when I dropped that deer, his last thought that went through his head was grass. Okay. And he switched off. He's done. Right. He had an awesome life. He's been selected out of the herd and he has been removed as humanely as I can. Literally, my thought process is his last thought is
excuse me,
grass.
Let's go sort something out.
As opposed to something that's been put up a run, watching the animals in front of it go through the bowl.
Can you
so
go see that.
Again, and the other thing is, I've also served people that said they would never eat venison. Venison cut into steaks. And I told them beforehand it was steak. I said, yeah, it's a bit of prime steak. Oh, that's the nicest bit of steak they'd ever eaten. And it was only afterwards I've told them that actually it was a bit of venison steak. And again, it's not an excuse to just go running out there killing things willy-nilly. If you don't need to, don't do it. If you're using it as a genuine food source, by all means. But I won't kill anything that I'm not without due reason, and I've only got a limited number of reasons. That's why I don't shoot these days. Is I no longer have to do vermin or pest control. I no longer do deer management, so there's no reason there. And I don't have the necessity to do it to put food on a plate. Doesn't mean to say I'm not equipped to do it if I had to. If things got that tight, that difficult, then yeah, I'd turn my hands straight back to my previous skills. And bar an air rifle in the UK, barring an air rifle, you really don't need a lot more.
Andy B.
It's have I ever eaten beaver?
See, we're quite unlucky, really, because a lot of our animals here are quite small. Because it's like ostriches.
Yeah.
You know, the size of an ostrich leg. We've had ostrich, and it's huge. Oh, Diana, God, I haven't heard that name for years.
I mean, and again, it's not what it is; it's how it's looked after, it's how it's maintained. I mean, I grew up with a father that wouldn't eat lamb because, as he saw it, and I agree with him in some respects, I'd rather have mutton. I think it's got a better flavour. The animal's lived a bit longer. It's got a bit mature. The meat's got a bit better. It's got more bulk to it. There's more meat on it. However, we've got this taste for lamb, which is more really a supermarket selling ploy to get as much into you as possible, as quickly as possible. If you went back to the 1950s, when people did still keep stuff themselves, so that people would join together and buy a barley ball. Okay, I've known communities right through to the 80s where whole groups of 10 or 15 families would join up, spend money to buy a barley ball. And now, what that technique was, they would select one of them that knew a bit about animals. He would go down to the auctions. He would buy a bull. They would all club together for it. For the next year, they would all club together to feed it things like barley to bulk it out, to make it larger. Okay. And then that animal would go to slaughter and it would get divvied up amongst everybody, and then they would buy the next one. And quite a few farmers would actually do a barley bull sale. So rather than slaughtering the bull calves, they would do a barley bull sale and either sell the barley bulls onto these people to raise themselves, or he would have paddocks where the barley bulls would be separated or kept in small groups when they were young, and then separated as they got older, and people would pay him to raise those beefs to a slaughter weight from. People used to keep pigs. People used to keep chickens. People used to keep ducks. We used to keep geese. My back garden at Merrow, we had ducks, chickens, and geese. Okay. The geese weren't for food, they were for alarms. They used to keep the foxes away, the postman away, the dog away, the cat, other people's children. Absolutely brilliant animals to have in the
Especially
garden.
got those Chinese geese. God, they have really good ones.
We got a turkey once, right? Dad got a turkey. Brought this bleeding great turkey home, put it in the garden. The following day it was gone, and we thought foxes had it. Yeah. For about 8 weeks, around the whole area for about 2 miles around us was reports of people being attacked by this mad turkey, which my dad denied all knowledge of.
Bushcraft Sussex is a little off the track. There's a little bit of interesting information. You say your grandfather used to keep rabbits for eating. Well, at Longmoor ranges where it used to work, they used to have a warrener, didn't they?
Yes.
And all he used to do was raise the rabbits for feeding the soldiers.
For meat,
for meat, but to make sure that he knew that they were his rabbits, and if anyone took his rabbits, they actually had black rabbits. Because when you skin a black rabbit, the skin is a different colour to that of a normal rabbit.
It's darker.
It's much darker. And of course, after the Second World War, they didn't need so many of these rabbits, so they let them loose. So if you go around now, round Longmoor Ranges, you actually see black rabbits. And the first one, someone went, "Oh look, someone's let their pet go." But it's not. These are generation after generation after generation of these black rabbits.
Yeah, and the genes in the black rabbit also comes back. So in some areas you'd have a whole warren of normal coloured rabbits, and then one year you just have a couple of black ones. Now traditionally,
so they knew if you had someone, the local butcher had got one of his rabbits, you notice it because he'd be hanging out with a different colour.
That's it, because people used to sell rabbits with their coats on.
Yeah.
Now, black rabbit is always referred to as the parson. Okay, it's a parson's rabbit. The reason it's called a parson is in the old days a parson will wear a long black coat, hence black rabbit, parson's rabbit. Just one of the old country things. Not to be confused with markers. So then you have markers. So again, markers tend to be more these days in birds, but it used to be in rabbits as well, where if you were breeding rabbits or taking rabbits for food in your one area, which up until 1955, all over the UK, farms farmed rabbits in their thousands. for the meat market. People didn't used to eat chicken, they ate rabbit. Simple as that. It was cheaper, it was easy to get. Chickens produced eggs. We'd just come out of rationing. You couldn't afford to eat your chicken, you wanted the eggs. The only chicken that used to get eaten prior to 1955 was the roosters, because when you got your patches of eggs in them days, you couldn't tell what was male or female. All the males went to meat, okay, and that would be a very rare Sunday treat. You get that from the butchers. So what we would call a chicken at the butcher's pre-55 was invariably a rooster. Hens too valuable for the egg use. But what the Warreners would do, and that was proper term for it, a Warrener, what the various Warreners would do, if you had two Warreners adjacent to one another, one would breed ginger rabbits, the next one would breed black rabbits, the next one would breed naturals, and so on. That's why we ended up with such a mix of genetic colours of rabbits. And it was so they knew that if somebody turned around and said, "Oh, yeah, I've got this ginger rabbit from so and so," they knew it was poaching, they knew it was stealing. They also knew that if their rabbits were getting into somebody else's population. Okay, so again, they were markers. Now you still see this in pheasants. I've quite often get people phoning me up there, "Man, I've seen this really rare bird. It looks like a pheasant, but it's all white." Or "I've seen this rare pheasant. It's all black." Like, those are marker birds. So each estate will raise its birds and will have a marker bird who invariably doesn't get shot, so that they know where their flock of birds are, where they are, where they're about, and all the rest of it. And if they stray, so again, you have markers.
Yeah, I see that he's cooperative. Jeremy Clarkson is cooperative, but it's it's not all working out, is it? But anyway, we used to better get venison at our local market,
Sussex,
didn't we?
Yeah, you shoot a marker bird, the keeper's going to go absolutely mental. That is bad form, sir. Not to be done. And again, the other bonus with that, from the keeper's point of view, he's watching his guns. That gamekeeper does not want somebody that gets poor kills, shoots wildly, and is just basically blazing away for the hell of it. Yes, they're spending a lot of money to come to the shoot, but there's responsibility. So if you shoot the marker bird, the first thing you're going to get is booted off the shoot there and then, invariably, because you just shot a valuable marker bird. But secondly, you've shown that you're not actually marking what you're shooting. You're hitting anything that's flying. That is bad form. It's you only ever shoot what you intend to kill.
Again, about the animals and things like that. Matt sent me a picture this week. Up in Scotland, it was a white deer, like a white hart, and they say that when a white animal appears, it's a sign of good luck and changes, isn't it? That's why it's really bad to kill a white animal that's obviously. Yes, it's not talking like polar bears, because polar bears are white, but and this yesterday I saw that the bird hoppers in, I think it's around Canterbury or Cheshire, were going mad because they spotted a pure white starling. So that's two white animals. Well, a bird and an animal.
Yeah, myxomatosis. That's gone by the by now. It's going by the by. Rabbits are starting to develop an immunity towards it in certain places. I know my locals are doing okay. Still look a bit of a mess, but they're not going blind now. That's a bonus. And again, if you've got a rabbit with mixy, you dispatch it. Don't waste it. Myxomatosis does not spread to human beings. The only thing you are liable to get from it is a very, very skinny rabbit, very undernourished. The most important things with any game when you're checking the game and preparing it is you're checking the glands. So you're checking the glands, you're checking the kidneys, you're checking the liver for infections like liver fluke, all sorts of other illnesses you can pick up. And basically, the basic rule of thumb is if it looks healthy, it probably is healthy. And the golden rule is whatever it is, doesn't matter if it's got liver fluke, doesn't matter if it's got tapeworm, doesn't matter if it's infected with cysts. Boil the living crap out of it. And I say boil it to death, because you will neutralise all those things. These illnesses have been around for thousands of years. That's why we're still here. Not because we developed an immunity to these things. We still catch them. However, our ancestors were clever enough to know that the best form of community cooking and game preparation is stewing things. It's to put it in a pot
Willow, stop
and
moaning.
cook it at a very high heat for a very long time. And that way, you neutralise any problems with the meat. British Army in the 1800s, the meat was rancid by the time it got out to the front. What did they do with it? Boiled the living death out of it, made stews out of it.
Yeah, I can take you, Sussex, to a place in Surrey that all they have got is White Hart.
It's the last.
And it's it's the oldest. The oldest and the sort of the more proper strain of White Hart. It is there, and they've got stags and hinds a lot. They're just.
It's a very, very what do you call it? It's a discreet collection that's been there for generations.
I'll send an email to. I'll send an email to you, Simon, because I've found some useful things for your question you asked the other day about herbs and things like that.
Yeah, the White Hart of Hascombe have been there for hundreds and hundreds of years. And the family at Hascombe are pretty much duty bound to protect the herd and take a great deal of care in looking after it. They are a fantastic beast.
They're huge, incredible, aren't they?
They are massive, yes. I don't know what the history and the heraldry and that is, because again, it's one of those things. It's very, very much kept quiet because it protects the herd. There are people out there that will spend an absolute fortune to sneak in somewhere and take something just to say they can put its head on their wall, which
because I seem to remember, if you go around there's a small museum in Guildford, and there is a stone White Hart there, and I believe it's on the heraldry thing.
Simon, take it easy, mate. Have a good day tomorrow. Yeah. Oh yeah. Too right, took the advantage. Yeah.
That's it, Andy. Yeah. Many a time we stood looking over that stone wall and then get a shock of a life when someone stands up below the wall at you, and
it's log hoppers is not just in our ancestry; it's in most ancestries. You look at most indigenous peoples when they're producing food, and what is the method they use? A big pot boiling. There are groups around the world. In South America, there was a group that they actually found this group. It was almost like a first contact situation. Scientists have gone out to study these people, meet them, and that, and it was a pretty much an agreed, set up, happy thing. One of the things they did was they scraped. There was a huge pot, literally in centre of the village, communal eating. Everything came out of the pot. Everything went into the pot, and they decided to take a scrape from the bottom of the pot to analyse what these people's diet had been. Right? And were amazed to find out that there was traces of meat down in the bottom of that pot that had been there for over 100 years, okay, and was still perfectly edible. So, and then basically this community just that fire never went out. That pot never came off the bubble. It was just every day the hunters would come back, quarter what they got, it went in the pot. The women would come back, whatever they'd found, forage and so on, went in the pot, and that pot just stayed cooking. And the community literally ate from that pot every day, topped it up every day, it never ran dry. And it's just such a simple technique. That is, especially for group survival, if you're going to do it, it's the safest and easiest way. Boil the living death out of it. Yes, you lose nutrients, yes, you lose some of the goodness, but you're not going to die from something nasty. And let's face it, stew. So a good stew, you'll get your carbs from your roots, you get your protein from your meats, but you also, there's times when you just want to drink, you don't want to actually eat anything, you just want a hot, soothing drink. So you dip your mug, carefully take out some of the juice, there you go, simple as. I bet it did, I bet it tasted fantastic. And again, I suppose what you got, the other thing you got to think about is we're lucky, aren't we, in the Western world? We're so lucky in the Western world that we can sit there and go, I'm going to make such and such today, and I'm going to make such and such. Our ancestors didn't get that option. They didn't sit there always. I'm pretty sure they didn't always sit there and go, "Oh yeah, pottage, my favourite." I bet you quite often they sat there and they went, "Oh bloody hell, not that muck again." But it was food, and it was fuel, and that's what kept them going. And that's one of the differences in survival situations. You don't always get to choose. You don't always get to sort of have the nice thing. Sometimes you've got to break it down to literally that is going to keep me functioning, and therefore that's what I'll have because it's all I've got. We're very, very lucky today. Very, very lucky. History's fast food. Yeah, you're far wrong there. Ironing the kids' shirts at school. Outdoors apprentice Kiwi, I hope you got the creases in the right place. I want to see 3 creases down the back vertically from the shoulders and 1 across. Iron a pleat into it. You all right, love?
Yes. Yeah. No, I can't speak about it tonight. Thank you.
You feel a bit off colour?
No.
Okay, don't. I'll do it.
No, I'll put it out. It's been 20 minutes now.
Okay, done. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Stews, curries, pies, always better the following day. It's had a chance to develop a bit of flavour. Kaz does a really nice slow stew in the crock pot. And that following day, in actual fact, I've got a bowl of it in the freezer. It just develops and develops and develops.
Here we go.
Hey, it's little
Mr.
man.
Willow.
Mr. Willow.
The reason why it was complaining was I shut the gate to bedroom door, and he couldn't get out.
Log hoggers, have a fantastic week, guys. Look after yourselves, get outside, have their adventures, and yeah, chuck your live up next week. Not an issue at all. Yeah, not a problem with that at all. Give us a shout, though. Stay safe. Happy hopping, guys.
Night.
Kitten, how you doing, brother? Jess. Sorry, I've sort of been on my own little rant this evening. I do apologise. They're not letting Kaz get a word in edgeways of yeah. Yeah. Preparing for the adventure this week. So hopefully everybody's had fun. Hopefully that's been interesting. And the only other thing I really wanted to mention this week is this thing of people. No, I'll save that for next week. People get up on the hills doing silly things. Let's get into what you guys have been up to.
I'm afraid I have to leave, people. It's too hot up here, and it's getting a bit much. Okay, take it easy, and I'll see you next week.
Okay, so I'll see you in a little bit. Oh,
I'm not sit on that chair again.
I'll swap you back to the other one next time. Swing myself round, and get myself comfy. Oh. And I'll have a crack into an alcohol-free, keep myself lubricated. Oh, it's going to be great next week with any luck, mate. Yeah, like I say, I'm going out to my dreaming tree. So I've got a very special tree in a very special place where I go sit. It's almost like a, how can you put it? Bit of a communing tree. It's where I go and I sit and I just speak to nature, I suppose, speak to myself. I mean, I often just speak to myself in the woods. Yeah, Kaz is feeling a bit off, so she's going to belt out. It is really hot here. We got a black slate roof, and it gets really, really, really hot here. In the evenings, it's a case we have to open the windows both ends of the house. We've got fans going almost non-stop to try and cool it down. So invariably, we end up having to go to bed quite late once the temperatures come down in the house, which is a bit of a pain in the ass, shall we say. Excellent, Kiwi. Kiwi, excellent. Awesome. Oh, that's good news, mate. So that's another bit of kit I don't have to bring up the woods at the camp next time round. Brilliant, sweet. Yeah, I tell you what, the EcoFlow, love it, mate. Love it. At the end of the day, having a power bank, I know they're expensive. I know they're, if you, a lot of people look and go, it's not something I need. But for me, for home as a backup, as an energy source, as a system for camps and things like that, meaning that you can pretty much charge whatever you need as a bulk power source and have a bigger energy source through the night. I mean, yeah, I've got little power packs. They're great for doing your phone a couple of times, but they do die off. Cheers, guys. Much appreciated. I'll pass that on to Kaz. Yes, yeah, we will meet up. We'll definitely have to have a meet up. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And again, you can let me know if there's anything you need as well, and we will get it to you as best we can. Oh, no. Oh, sorry to hear that, Jess. Oh, that's a shame. See if you can get a preservation order on it. Quite a few trees don't have preservation orders. So you go to your local authority, speak to them, say, look, I want to see if I can protect this tree. If it's a safety reason, it'll have to come down. But I had it working in forestry years ago. We were doing mostly pine, so we were clearing pine woodlands out, and it was piecework, so earwork driven hard. But quite often there'd be ash amongst them, there might be oak amongst them, and so on. And they were just like, no, you're clearing this whole area. And it used to be a shame. I used to say to people, like locals, oh, you're going to cut the oak down. They're going to cut the oak down if it's not protected. If you get hold of the local authority and tell them that you want to protect the oak, you want it there, you think it should be left, it will get protected, and that we will then get told not to take the oak, take everything else. So yeah, sometimes you've just got to try and stand up and shout for the protection of something. It might come to something, it might not, but it's worth a go. Yeah. Yeah, my trees, I only found my tree last year. It's in the middle of a field, stands on its own. It's not a really ancient oak tree, but it's just a nice oak tree. It sits out somewhere, a beautiful, peaceful spot on its own. And I'll do a video from there. It's going to be part of this week, but that won't go up till next week because it is just such a stunning spot. Stunning spot. And this tree itself, I'll try and show it in the video. The trunk at the bottom steps out in one small spot and actually forms a perfect seat. That's the perfect height, perfect position for me to sit on and then lean back against the trunk. It's almost like it was built for it. And it's just one of those. I sat there last year, and if I said to you, I know it sounds a bit airy fairy, but the peace just settled on me. It just made me go, and it all went away. So, yeah, absolutely fantastic places. Yeah, I've been researching solar panels for mine as well. I'm interested in solar, and I think anything that gives you free energy is a bonus. It's just you just got to look around and find good companies. Solar panels, solar equipment, batteries. It's always worth spending the money on. Always worth spending the money on. There's a lot of options out there, especially in the cheap Chinese knockoffs. That aren't quite as good. So it's a matter of find what you can, find what works, and crack on with that. that. Yeah, that's right. Getting little notifications coming up in the bottom corner. Hi, Mac. Hope you're good. Hope you're good, Mac. Mac, I'm not about this week, mate. I've got groomers tomorrow with Willow, shopping with Kaz, and then Tuesday I'm away to the usual place, mate. I'm not back till Friday night. So unfortunately this week I'm away. I'm over on the island. Special tree, CPAP machine, yeah, and again, power packs. If you're something like Kiwi that suffers from sleep apnea, and you're going to need a machine. This is one of the things that got to admire the bloke. It doesn't stop him getting out doing his wild camp, his sleep apnea. No, he takes his machine with him, takes a power pack with him, and that's it. Goes and has his camp. Got to do it. Got to do it. You might be able to protect some of its stuff. It's worth looking into. A lot of these areas are forestry commission, so under the forestry commission rules, they're classed as a crop. But if there's a tree amongst that crop that is naturally seeded, that has been left for a couple of 100 years and had a chance to grow, then you can quite often get it protected because it's not part of the crop. The problem is from the forestry commission and the timber producer side of you, it's just tree, mate. It's just wood. Just more, the more trees I can take off of here, the more tonnage, the more money. I'm not really interested in what the tree looks like. It's just interested in the chippings and the wood. And even places where you see them chipping them, that's all going to pulp. It's all going to paper. It's all got value. It's not wastage. It's all going to money. So again, that's all they're interested in is the overhead. But if you've got something in there that's been in there for several hundred years, yeah, protect it. Go to your local authorities. Half the time they don't even know it's there. Turn around and say, take the photographs of it. Go to them and say, I know they're clearing that because it's all larch and they've grown the larch over the last 30 years for crop. But this oak stood in the middle, it's been here for hundreds of years, is a beautiful thing, and I can give you the names of lots of people that enjoy it. That's how you protect it. If they don't know it's there, the local tree officer can't protect it, and he's the one to get hold of. Especially in England, I don't know about Scotland, but in England, every authority will have a tree officer. Okay, and his job is to work out what trees have got to be protected, what trees are dangerous. He's somebody who's normally had a long career in forestry and knows what he's looking at. Yeah. Oh, let's just go through some of the comments too. Excuse me. Yeah. 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 Yeah, it tends to be tree preservation orders are individual trees. If you've got something that's a bit of a weirdo, a bit of an oddity. So I was involved in a fell in one place, and within that, they discovered there was actually a ring of yew trees, and the yew tree ring had like a 20-meter diameter. Now, interesting thing is, although you see 20-meter diameter of yew trees, that was originally one tree. What a yew does over thousands of years as it grows, and it's the center rots out and splits, and it eventually moves further and further apart, as well as putting up feelers to produce new trees. So that would have all been felled. That would have all gone to pulp. If it wasn't for the fact that one of the locals realised there was a ring of yews within the trees, and I managed to get it protected. And they protected the whole lot because it was a ring of yews. So again, every case is usually taken on its own basis, but you've got to show just reason. You can't just turn around and go because I like the tree. It's got to be that it is either one of the protected species, which you tend to find oaks and hawthorns fall into. Ash is used to, but because of ash dieback, they've lost a lot of protection. Yew trees are protected, so on and so on. So have a look. There's also classifications for the sizes of trees. So if you've got something like they call a sentinel, which is an oversized ancient tree, something that's been there for generations, then that can be protected purely and simply on its historic right, on the fact that this tree has survived for so long, it's survived that forest going away and coming back, that it should be left alone. Oh, it's a shame, Jess. Go and tie yourself to it. Go and handcuff yourself to it. Protest. We'll support you. Oh, yeah, Sticks. How you doing, brother? Have a good Father's Day. Kaz has had to bail out. She's feeling a bit off colour. It's too hot up here for her. Yes. Oh, I'm running out of steam now. Oh, it's gone to me other thing. I won't save it till next week. I'll get it off my chest now. Right. I've entitled this Unintentional Rescue. So, day before yesterday, a bit bored, as you quite often are, as we all do. Had a couple of hours to spare, and I sat down and I started perusing YouTube. And quite often, YouTube, I'll just say, oh, today I fancy bushcraft. Let's look at bushcraft. Today I look at prepping. Let's look at prepping. And today I looked at adventures. First thing that come up is climbing cribgock in my bikini. A bit further down, climbing the deadly cribgock barefoot. Cribgock barefoot. And I was like, really? Extreme mountain climbing in my underwear with no kit in a rainstorm. Said it before, and I'll say it again. Darwin was right. Then, the following day, I hear two ladies lost their lives swimming in a lake up north. And I'm like, it's here again, isn't it? It's summer. People do silly things in the summer. Now, I'm all for an adventure. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for adventure. I'm not being a Mr. Oh, you should be that. But Thunderbirds ain't coming, guys. Yeah. It's our responsibility to be ready to get ourselves out of situations or assist others when we're on the mountains or when we're on the hills or when we're having our adventures. Okay? The mountain rescue, lowland rescue, RNLI and everybody else are really there for the unforeseen incidents, the broken leg, so on and so on and so on. They're not there to rescue some little darling who's decided they want to take a selfie of themselves, stood on one of the most dangerous bleeding walks in the United Kingdom in a bikini, barefoot, with a banana up the gum. Okay? That's not what they're there for. My view to that is, if you put yourself out into one of these places and you're found to be doing something stupid like that, you should be charged for the rescue. Those people put their lives on the line to rescue you. Now, I'm not having a dig at people like my mate Owen, who goes up into the mountains of Ireland, because he knows his mountains. He knows the area he's going into. He's done his research. He knows it like the back of his hand. He goes with kit. He also goes with kit that means he could help somebody else if he had to. He makes sure that he's got his communications sorted out. He makes sure his setup's organised. So if it does go wrong for him, he does have that fall, he does break a hip, he can be rescued. But the other 99.99% of the times, he can walk off himself. And if necessary, aid somebody else. And I've seen him do it in several of his videos and in conversations. Quite regularly turns around to people and says, guys, you need to get off the hill. Maybe you need to go that way, or you need to go that way. Help and guidance. Yeah. So again, I'm not saying don't go up to Cribcock, have your adventure, do the walk. It's stunning. Okay. Do it with common sense. Prepare yourself. Know your capabilities, know your abilities. In actual fact, I've got a list of bits here I've written out. It's and again, YouTubing, isn't it? So these people do this for YouTube, Instagram, TikToks, or whatever to get the news. Got to realise that you're inspiring other people, and that inspiration is also leading people to take more extreme risks and more extreme risks because I've got to be the top one. I've got to be the most daring. I've got to. It's bloody stupid. These people need to be taken into account or held to account. They're responsible for people getting hurt. Okay, they have to realise that they have a responsibility to other people that are watching it and get inspired to do these things, but they also have a responsibility to the rescue organisations. Oh, but Mickey, the rescue organisations, what they're people? No, they're not. They are volunteers. They are all volunteers. They're all unpaid volunteers. They are normally people that have a love and a passion for that area or that type of adventure, who dedicate time and effort to train as a team to save the lives of people that may, unfortunately, through no fault of their own, find themselves in a situation. And in so doing, every time they go out, put their lives on the line and to risk. They go out into that storm that everybody was advised not to go out into to rescue that one lost walker. Okay, they are there for the unforeseen, not for somebody. I mean, Christ's sake, phone them up, phone. Oh yeah, I'm going to jump off the cliff naked, so you might want to stretch at the bottom ready for me because I'm going to need to go to the hospital. Right, but it's going to be great on TikTok. Yeah, everybody's going to love it. Sorry, a bit negative there. So again, simple things. If you're going to go out, okay, get the proper local advice. I do it all the time. Hello, is that a mountain rescue for such and such, or Ben Nevis, or whatever? I'm looking at coming up in October. Can you give me some advice? They're always happy to do it because it's going to put them at less risk, right? Get that local advice and make sure it's proper local advice, not just some bloke in a pub that did it 30 years ago with his brother. Okay? Find out what's required for that particular route. What is the recommended gear and equipment for that route? Do you need crampons? Are you going to need to rope to one another? Yeah? Is it a via ferrata? Are you going to need a couple of harnesses? What kit are you going to need? What is recommended for that route? Okay, and even on some of the lowland walks, the moors and places like that, again, do the research. Plan and take what is appropriate for that time, and conditions, weather conditions as well. Most importantly, plan your route, share your route, keep to your route. Okay. If you can't keep to your route, in other words, pushing on to your destination, turn around, come back out through same said route, because if something goes wrong, you can be found. Okay, simple stuff, and make sure you have that emergency action plan. Make sure you turn around to somebody and say, if it goes tits up, all right, we're going to try and backtrack, and we will backtrack on the same route. Okay? That way, search and rescue knows that if it's a 4-day walk, it gets to day 3, something's gone wrong. Go out to the day 3 point and start working back rather than having to look out left and right. We know the route that they're intending to be on, so we can come and find them quicker. It's to save your life. Follow skill set. Follow routes that are within your skill set. To go places like Ben Nevis, there are various routes that you can take, and each route is color coded, and each route is a various skill set level. Okay, some of them require climbing gear and experienced climbing skills. Be responsible and be fair to yourself. We all overestimate our ability. I'm as guilty of it as anybody else. We all overestimate our ability because we all want to think we're better than we really are. You've got to be honest with yourself. Okay, that's going to save your life. Okay, and stick to the routes that are within your skill set and really enjoy it rather than finding yourself clinging to a ledge or a cliffside well out of your comfort zone in a 90-mile-an-hour wind, praying that somebody's coming to get you. Okay, it's not a place you want to find yourself. Always be prepared to hunker down. Okay, by that, if it goes completely tits up, weather conditions change, and in tough environments they can change like that. In some cases, your best option is going to be hunkered down on or just off of the route. Okay, find a sheltered position and hunkered down. Me and Mac have done it numerous times where we've literally gone, that's it, end X. Right, that boulder there is going to give us protection from the wind. Let's get the shelter up. Let's get hunkered down. Or I said, we're going to be here for a few hours, maybe even a day, might even be 24 hours. Let's get a brew on, get ourselves dried off. Let's get sorted. Right, go out with the kits that you are prepared to hunker down. Not sitting there against that boulder shivering and going down with hypothermia. You're literally going, excellent, brought the tent, let's get that up, let's get that sorted. Be prepared to hunker down. Yes, it means carrying more weight. Yes, it means carrying more gear. Okay? Rather have more weight, more gear when or if I needed it than to find myself freezing to death. Okay? And above all, enjoy your challenge. Yeah? Enjoy your challenge. Know when to bail and live to challenge another day. There you go. That's my advice there. But again, just if you're making videos and that, we just got to be responsible there. But I see so many TikTok, especially people. When are you going on TikTok? I'm not going on TikTok. When are you going on Instagram? I'm not going on Instagram. Yeah, no, not doing it. Yeah, all for views. It is, and it's. The trouble is that they might succeed because they got a camera crew with them, or their mates are with them, egging them on, and all that. So it's somebody who might not have the experience, might not have the. I'm trying to think how to put this politically correctly. Might be somebody out there inspired who doesn't have the. And I hope I'm not offending anybody because I don't mean this to be offensive, but I can't think how to put it any other way than might not have the mental facility to make the right judgment in their own abilities. And I've come across it time and time again where, people see somebody else do it, want to do it. And then when I'm talking to them, I'm suddenly realizing that they might be suffering with a learning difficulty or something like that. But because their hero's done it and shown how they've done it, they want to go and do the same thing. And that's something people have got to be aware of and very responsible about. Max always things like a bivy bag. Yeah, bivy bag. Don't want to carry a tent, carry a bivy bag. You will be amazed at the amount of protection a bivy bag can give you, but it isn't the be all and end all. So along with a bivy bag, sleeping bag, dry kit. Now I can't tell you how. In fact, any of you ex-military guys, again, I know this when I say it to you, the most amazing feeling of being able at the end of the day to get those dry socks on, some dry gear on, crawl into that bag and feel your body starting to warm through. Right? That is one of the most amazing experiences you can have because it just all works. And then you got to get up in the morning, get all that nice warm dry kit off. And put those wet socks on. Oh yeah, hell. But it makes the venture all the more worth. Yeah. Just again, do it, but and I know you will. I know you'll be one of the responsible ones. But again, it's something we got to get out to people. Yes, by all means, go and have your adventures and that, but keep grounded. That's the right words or right term to use. Keep grounded. We do have a responsibility. Yeah, definitely. X-range, are you hella? Sunnybridge and the hairpin. Somewhere out there in the fog, I promise you, there is a tank hulk. You're going to hit it with this. Where is it? Over there, somewhere in the fog. Yeah. And there's Jess. There you go. He's done some of those. So again, it's get that advice from people that know. Get the tips because again, it makes for a better journey. when you can get advice, and it's not always about you need to wear this, you need to say that. Sometimes it can be like, yeah, but if you go up such and such point and you get such and such brilliant camp spot and fantastic view, you see the sun go down from here, or you'll see the sun come up from there. That sort of information is just as important to make that great adventure. Okay, it's what it's all about. Um, it's again showing. It is about inspiring. We want to inspire other people to do it, but you've got to be able to say to them, look, by all means, go up, enjoy. Start. I mean, some of the places that are lethal in the UK, so Dartmoor gets a bum rap. Dartmoor's dangerous. I tell you what's even more dangerous: Exmoor and Bodmin. Why? Because they don't make the news. They're not as big. They're apparently not as extreme. And then people go, well, we're not going to go out on Dartmoor because Dartmoor's lethal. We'll go on to Bodmin Moor. And because we're going on to Bodmin Moor, we'll just wear flip-flops and shorts. We don't need a lot because it's not like as bad as Dartmoor, is it? Well, you get up on somewhere like Rowtor or Brown Willie and the weather changes and it is just as lethal. Just as lethal. In actual fact, you can be on a hill in Surrey. You can be out on one of the army training areas in the winter and the fog comes in and you get disorientated. Right? You might only be 100 metres from that road. It might as well be 20 miles. Because if you're that disorientated and you're cold and you're wet and you're miserable, things can start going downhill really quickly. More people die in places that they think are safe than do out on the extremities. Okay? West Island Way, nice. There you go, great bit of tip. There, just go do stretches of the West Island Way. Yeah, great bit of advice, simple advice. Last leg of 3 locks. Yeah. That's it. Have your adventures, get your advice, be sensible about it, have fun, have an absolutely awesome time. Yeah. So, next leg of Mickey's adventures now. Pushing on. I've got to get my health back to where I need it. And I've got a few months to do it. Yeah. Plan ahead. Got a year. Jess. It's a year's planning, working out. And that is a big part of it for people like me and Mac as well, is planning these adventures. It's sitting there and sort of going, do you know what? How are we do resources? How are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? How are we going to do the admin? What's the distance we're looking at covering each day? What are the legs? Planning the route, planning resups, maybe even going out and putting caches out, digging out, putting them in. That sort of planning. All that is as much fun sat around at the table in an evening with the iOS map, doing your research, working it out. It's all part of the adventure. One of the things is I used to say to people about motorcycling and shooting. Everybody thinks it's about pointing at the target, pulling the trigger, and hitting that target dead centre. Well, yeah, that's the end goal. But the whole process should be pleasurable, including cleaning the weapon, taking the weapon apart, looking after it, caring for it, putting your ammunition together, weighing everything out, balancing it, making notes on the weight of the bullet, how many grains of powder in it, what the weight and dimensions are of your casing, what primer you're using, what gun oil you're using to lubricate the bore with, how you've cleaned the weapons, setting the sights up, balancing the sights, balancing the barrel, firing it when it's cold, measuring it when it's cold, firing it when it's warm, measuring it's warm. There's all that comes to it. People don't realise it. I mean, it's you take right. police marksman, training or training alongside police marksman and with police marksman. Okay, got a rifle, fires one shot. 2 hours later, he can take his next shot. Takes his next shot. Why is it 2 hours? Well, it's 2 hours because he's a marksman. If he was having to use that rifle as a marksman, he is never going to get to take that one counting shot through a warm barrel. And a warm barrel reacts differently to a cold barrel. So he's got to perfect his skills on a cold barrel. An infantryman in contact is going to fire multiple rounds. So he's going to train for a hot barrel. Okay? Same thing with pistols and so on. So against that, motorcycling, same analogy with that. You own a motorcycle. The end goal on my motorcycle is sitting there like that, enjoying the road, enjoying the view, perfect summer's day, everything around me, it's all good. I'm just grinning and buzzing like a great lunatic that I am. Pleasure alongside that is cleaning my motorcycle, servicing my motorcycle, taking care of it, caring for it, making sure my tyre pressures are good, my drive system's good, my engine's good, brakes are all working fine. It should be all as pleasurable as the end product. Yeah. So again, when me and Mac are planning missions, it's the planning of the mission is as much a pleasure and an enjoyment and an excitement as the actual mission. So there we go. Make it all one big pleasure. Asthma is a real swine. I take it you always carry your meds with you, Jess. Make sure you got meds with you, and I know I'm teaching you to suck eggs as you've got asthma, but carry something on you that lets people know you've got asthma. Because I have come across people having an asthmatic attack, and I've had a little bit of first aid medical knowledge, so I usually can identify quite quickly that it's asthma. They're not just choking, they're not just struggling, there is asthma, and then I can go to them. And normally it's like, this asthma, got your meds, get the meds out, get the meds, get them calm, get them relaxed, get them sat down, get them sorted. Okay, but you may have somebody that comes to your aid in a severe attack that doesn't know anything about first aid. So, I carry 2 cards on my person when I'm out and about that lets people know 2 things that can happen to me, so that in the event I'm having a problem or an episode, they know what it is. They can deal with it. And even if they can't, they can advise the emergency services. He says he's got a card that says this. Okie doke, you need to get him into the recovery position, get him calm, and they'll guide you through it. 7 P's, always. Yeah. Prior preparation, planning, prevent, support performance. Always. COPD, yeah, that's a swine. Yeah, I would just get, at the end of the day, it can be a simple handwritten card, sweetheart, laminate it and just literally keep it in an outside pocket. It might even on the back's worth giving instructions on what to do with the meds. Yeah. Because as you know, with asthma, if it's a really severe attack, you're not going to be able to communicate in many ways. So, if you've got a card, you might be a case you can just get the card out and give it to somebody. And on the back there is, right, take it out for me, take the cap off, give it a shake, right? Give me 3 puffs or whatever you do, Yeah, it's worth doing it. It's not a perfect answer, but it is a step towards a better resolution. It's giving yourself more tools. It's that whole thing of somebody wants to be, why have you always got 3 extra tent pegs? Because I don't want to lose a tent peg and not be able to keep a tent down in severe conditions. I've had a situation where a tent has left me. You ask Mac. we were in the middle of Bodmin Moor. I mean, miles up from anybody and anything. using a wall to shelter us from a very high wind and a really squally storm. And we got both our tents set up. And I suddenly realised my tent, where it was going to end up in what was very quickly becoming a stream bed on the grass. It was literally, there was no indication it was a stream, apart from the fact that once the rain hit that hard, it started to flow. And I was like, what am I going to do? So I very carefully ripped all the pegs out, got hold of the tent, went to shift my position, and as I went to shift my position, a big gust of wind came in, and it literally went up, domed the floor inside the tent, and there was no holding it. It was gone. I was like, holy shit. I've never seen Mac laugh so hard in all my life. He knew straight away, that's it, we're going to be sharing his. But it just, it's like, you couldn't do that if you tried, and it just took off. It was gone. That was it. Never to be seen again. So again, that whole thing, why Nick, have you got extra tent pegs? Yeah. Always give yourself that little bit of an advantage, that little edge, If somebody says to you, oh, you only need 500 mils of water, sod it, stick an extra 500 in your bag. Yeah. It just give yourself that edge, because when they're sitting there going, oh, I wish I brought some more water, you're quite calmly going, okay. Yeah, always look for the edge, find the edge. It's good military doctrine. It's good medical doctrine. In fact, any high skill profession, it is doctrine. Find the edge. Give yourself the edge. Okay, that's the difference. Excellent. Yeah, out of max. Yeah, on a lanyard, top of your jacket. Yeah. It's just an added bonus. I wear my dog tags. I quite often get, why do you wear dog tags? I wear my dog tags. It's got my details on it. Okay, those dog tags have got enough information on it for them to be able to identify me. Okay, I also keep in my wallet details. Right, on my phone, I've got an ICE setting on my phone. Right, now, as you don't know what ICE is, right, it's quite simple. It's it's a phrase used by the emergency services that they look for in the phone book of your phone. Right? They look for anybody that's put in ICE. In case of emergency. So if you're found unconscious, or you're found disabled, or you're found in a situation, that ICE contact gives them somebody to contact, your partner, your wife, your mum, whoever, who's going to be able to say, yeah, he suffers with this. This is what you need to do. Where are you taking it? It starts ball rolling. Or you can carry it on a lanyard around your neck. Just make yourself a little lanyard that you can tuck away, carry light, right? Put on it ICE, right? ICE, right? And then all you've got to do is have your details, what may be affecting you, and maybe some instructions on the back and contacts. So again, in case of emergency, somebody like a medic, if I come across you, you're flat on the floor, you're unconscious, you are not breathing, or you're not responsive, or even if you are responsive, but you're there, flanked out, and I can't communicate with you, first thing I'm going to do is check your general condition, try and look for any injuries, and in so doing, I'm going to find something like that. When I find something like that, I'm always going to take notice of it immediately. Right, they've got an ICE document on them. Right, in case of emergency, what have we got? Right, hello Jess, how are you, sweetheart? Right, so you suffer with asthma, not a problem. Okie dokie. Right, you've got your contact number for your partner. Brilliant. I can get onto them in a minute. And I've got some instructions back here. Brilliant. You've got an inhaler with you. Right, I can go through all that then. Gotcha. I've got you covered. You're going to be all right. And I can get hold of your partner and go, right, just so you know, Jess has had a major asthma attack. Ambulance is on its way. She's going to be taken to such and such hospital. If you want to start heading there now, she's okay. I'm with her. She's going to be, all goes nice and smooth. Or it's find a casualty, pick up the phone and go, yeah, I've got unconscious person up here on the hills. Don't know who they are. Can't tell you anything about them. Can't tell you what's wrong with them. And all I can then do is check you for injuries. And if you've got no visible, obvious, what can I do? You know, or I'm not going to start CPR unless you're not breathing. Right, that's 2 hours and 4 minutes. I'm going to get to the lovely Kaz. That finished on a bit of a dark note. I do apologise. Guys, I'm going to have a wonderful week this week. Go out and have a bit of an adventure. I'm going to film it. I've got myself a new bit of kit. I'm not going to say any more than that. But I'm going to try and film from a different angle, shall we say. No, that sounds like a drone. It's not a drone. I'm just going to try a new way of carrying my camera with me and filming. And yeah, see how that works out. The video will be up next week. Have fun. Look after yourselves. Have an adventure. Get outdoors. Do something to make yourself smile. Be happy. Yeah. Love those you do. Forgive those you don't. Have an absolutely awesome week. From me, Kaz, Willow, Mac, the lads at Tarpack, and all the rest of the community. Guys, stay safe, have fun, look after yourselves. Yeah, look after yourselves. yeah. Jess, you're switched on enough. I'm not too worried about you. You've got it sorted. Sticks. Catch you later, brother. Kitten Killer, take it easy, mate. Have a good week. Yeah, Andy, look after yourself. Stealth, yeah, have a great week, mate. Enjoy yourself. Have a good one. Who else have we got on there? Who else have we got on there? Max, take care, brother. Look after yourself, you legend. And I'm so sorry. Yes, it was me with your lighter. Like I say, I've sat here today and sorted through kit, got the tarp out and actually unrolled it fully. I just thump on the floor and I was like, what the hell's that? Oh no, it's Max's lighter. No, put it to one side. Got it here for you. Andy, yeah, take care, mate. Have a great week. Yeah. And anybody else out there, yeah, do us a favour. Hit the like button. Take it easy. Have your adventures. Get outdoors. Have fun. I've got sort Kaz out. Take care, guys. Until next time. This is Mickey. Mickey out. Take care, Kiwi.